Judy note, no one knew the exact timing of Tier 4 bin notification. According to our military intel contact, the RV shotgun release and Tier 4 bin notification would be here this week under cover of the federal and Supreme Court's scrutiny of evidence about election vote fraud. The start would slightly follow and shortly overlap security issues that were being handled right now. All upper tiers have been funded and platform traders were finished, with money sitting in accounts awaiting the shotgun start. A calendar of events. The Paris Climate Agreement that POTUS let expire last Wednesday 4th of November meant that Tier 4B ultimately gained 50% more in proceeds for our projects. Last week the Queen said she was going to abdicate. Buckingham Palace was empty. The quantum computer could only read the ballots with the official watermark, printed by Homeland Security. A audit completed by Homeland Security using the National Guard verified that Trump officially won the election by an 80% vote. Trump said that 71 million had voted for him in the election, while Charlie Ward said that Biden had an open criminal investigation against him in the Ukraine. Nazara/GCR freedom from debt laws were expected to begin this week. On Monday 9th of November, lawyers for Trump presented to federal courts and the Supreme Court evidence of extensive election fraud across the U.S. by the vertical Biden camp. It was rumored that an important announcement would be made in a press conference around Wednesday 11th of November. Saturday 14th of November was said to be the end of the 10 days of darkness. #G. Nazara and GCR could be announced this week and that freedom from debt would change the world. We would then move from maritime law to common law. After announcement of Nazara, a new election would have to be held within 120 days. Charlie Ward, arrests have started already. Many are not public knowledge. But everyone would soon know. 107, J.F. Kennedy Jr. said that from December 21, 2018 till right now there were over 209,000 sealed indictments filed in federal courts across the nation. Grand juries have been meeting in secret continuously. U.S. citizens sitting on juries. In all 94 judicial districts. 14 to 23 people. We've got 'em. We've got 'em. And they're going to pay the price. They're going to suffer the consequences of their actions. They intended to capture America and to enslave it and to destroy it so they could have their global order. They wanted wealth in their global order at the expense of Americans. They wanted their crime families. C. Clintons, B. Bidens, Obamas, B. Bushes, be part of a much bigger criminal syndicate. Their piece of the pie at the global action. Truck drivers strike November 29, 2020. Trucker strike could be another nail in the supply chain coffin. Viral videos are being posted to social media featuring truckers in the United States discussing the possibility of a nationwide strike on November 29 in protest against coronavirus lockdown measures and the election. As of now, the word is November 29, states one trucker. November 29, we park and we don't move. November 29 is the day we take this country back. Spread the word. It's our time. We say what happens, he adds, before warning, shit's about to get real. A second video features another trucker outlining the reasons for the strike, coronavirus lockdown measures that have unfairly impacted drivers as well as the outcome of the presidential election. BMO 9th of November 5:23 p.m. EST Fleming's military intel contact. 1. The Paris Climate Accords was the oligarch's dream of a one-world control. 2. On Wednesday 4th of November the Paris Climate Accords was null and void, exactly 1 year after notice was given of the intent to cancel. 3. The delivery of USN was evidence that this was done. 4. The PCA was another vertical state taxation scheme which POTUS saw through just like he saw through the voting fraud the vertical state carelessly executed from last Tuesday night 3rd of November to the present. 5. The control of project dollars under the Paris Climate Accords determined ultimate control of the global collateral accounts. The carbon credits were nothing more than funny money creation machines. Proceeds controlled under UK with US left out of any decisions. 6. For the past 70 years these Illuminati cabal have owned every penny of global collateral accounts trade proceeds through these types of legal maneuvers, leaving US not benefiting at all. This is also why Europe is so far ahead of US in every benchmark. They got the big bucks. It's righteous that we the people have our turn at the table. 7. The Paris Climate Agreement that POTUS let expire last Wednesday 4th of November meant that Tier 4B ultimately gained 50% more in proceeds for our projects. 8. This could have been a cause for the wait on the RV/GCR. 9. Trump was the Lone Ranger leading the charge away from this Illuminati cabal and the further surrender of our U.S. freedom. See Monday 9th of November 12:46 p.m. EST Fleming's Military Intel Contact Update. 1. The Tier 4B start was still coming this week. 2. In spite of the war against its release, the start would come under cover of the state court's scrutiny and SCOTUS scrutiny of emerging clear evidence of election vote fraud. 3. Over the past years, 20 plus for some, it's been a sacrifice for us in Tier 4B, as the elite and more privileged have exchanged, gotten their 1 to 2% advances, and lived in relatively more ease than us in Tier 4B. 4. The military intel contact said, while Tier 4B has suffered with lockdowns and loss of innocence, respect, faith, trust and especially too many lives lost that could have been saved. The cost of the past, lost years could only be balanced by the understanding of our ultimate freedom earned, versus death post-RV. This had been the plan of the White Hats, top 5 elders and of heaven. 5. He did not intend to trivialize the real suffering of so many and what he himself has suffered trying to outweigh the release war, but he said the phrase is really true, no pain, no gain. Can we ever know that our sacrifice has given us a life of freedom? Because given a choice we all would choose to wait. He agreed that for better or for worse, waiting through the war to get this RV released has made us grow stronger. He said there have been times in his own life when he lost everything, so he knows how this works from the inside out. 6. He also said that, sharing this message at this time can only be done once the safe link, via 800 hash notifications, was given. But this must be shared to help people recover faith, hope and trust in the post-RV system that we're building together. 7. He said to hang on folks, we are almost there. 8. The decision makers and release algorithm were suggesting a start that would shortly overlap and slightly follow security issues being handled right now. Monday 9th of November 1:25 p.m. EST History. Charlie Ward, History and Now with Denise Boland and Antonio Sabato JR1. Nazara and Jazara could be announced this week and that freedom from debt would change the world. 2. We would also move from maritime law to common law. 3. When you announce Nazara. You would have to have a new election within 120 days. 4. Arrests have started already. Many are not public knowledge. But everyone will soon know. Monday 9th of November. Charlie Ward, Laureen Hope and Charlie Ward catch up. 1. Trump officially won the election by an 80% vote. 2. Vertical Biden has a criminal investigation against him in the Ukraine. 3. Hunter Vertical Biden is not only a drug addict, but owns the largest porn site in the world and is also being investigated by the Ukraine. 4. Last week the Queen said she was going to abdicate. Buckingham Palace was empty. 5. Under the Vatican there were miles of gold. That gold was emptied out of the Vatican and was now going to back the currencies of the world. 6. Nazara was in the process of being phased in. 7. The whole purpose of allowing Biden to go this far was to expose the mainstream media and Democratic voter fraud. 8. Charlie was under an NDA and thus could not talk about JFK Jr. Amelia Love with Charlie Ward, Media, Fear, and Control. Bishop Larry Gator's talk with Charlie Ward. The quantum computer could only read the ballots with the watermark. The quantum computer validates that Trump has won with a 80% vote. The B. Vertical Biden crime family goes back for generations as slave owners. F. J.F. Kennedy Jr. Is Vincent Fusca JFK Jr.? D.B. Weblink. Monday 9th of November 1:16 a.m. EST 107, JFK Jr. We're gonna get 'em all. Cat, electrifying 107 and Roseanne, hang tight, we're gonna get 'em all. By Cat, 11.9.20 from December 21, 2018 till right now. Grand juries have been meeting in secret continuously. U.S. citizens sitting on juries. In all 94 judicial districts. 14 to 23 people. 107, when the true vote is known. 80% of those who voted, legitimately, voted for President Trump. 49 hours 9 minutes mirroring, reversals, even President Trump is on the same page as you and I are right now. Do you know what President Trump tweeted a few hours ago? He said 71 million had voted for him in the election. 71 million Americans had voted for POTUS. 51 hours 58 minutes we've got 'em. We've got 'em. And they're going to pay the price. They're going to suffer the consequences of their actions. They intended to capture America and to enslave it and to destroy it so they could have their global order. They wanted wealth in their global order at the expense of Americans. They wanted their crime families. C. Clintons, B. Bidens, Obamas, B. Bushes, be part of a much bigger criminal syndicate. Their piece of the pie at the global action. G. 10 days of darkness after the election, rumor mills, 10 days of darkness after election. All those trucks, full of invalid votes, coming in at 2 and 3 in the morning on 4th of November and beyond were invalid. B. Vertical Biden may have won the count, but only because they kept counting invalid votes for days after the election ended. The Supreme Court of the United States would not count those votes. And since Trump was in the lead when the election ended, he was the legitimate legal president. This was why I kept telling you all that ACB was the Trump card. The nuclear card would be martial law and mass arrests. But that's a very dangerous call for the country. To win, legally in the court system, was the Trump card. People. And while in the court they can unload all the evidence to show mass cheating. The software that the machines were using to tally up votes was owned and controlled by Paul P. Vertical Pelosi, Nancy P. Vertical Pelosi's husband. He not only sat on the board of the software company that tallies the votes, he was the majority owner of it. So these glitches that only glitch in one direction isn't a glitch, it's a computer program designed to do all of this without any of us knowing it. It does it so fast. That we couldn't even detect it during the actual counting. This was how they were able to call states 10 minutes after the elections closed. The algorithm calculated a Biden win based on information they entered into the system. So, if Sidney Powell has this information, you know the DOJ does. And they probably have more that will come out in the Supreme Court hearings. The DOJ. Where are they? They have the goods. They don't need the courts to tell them to arrest, just the command from POTUS. Why were they so quiet? 10 days of darkness. It wasn't what we thought, people. It wasn't 10 days of media blackout. 10 days of social media blackout. 10 days of darkness to a period of time where Q went dark. The president lost the election and it looked like we were headed to a socialist government. By constitutional law, the Department of Justice can't get involved with the election until 10 days after Election Day. The election was 3rd of November and by law they have to wait until the 14th of November to get involved. It doesn't mean they can't make arrests. They can arrest some small-time players that were involved with the plot. I'm told from a reliable source last night that a few of these arrests will happen next week sometime. But after 10 days, Barr can arrest anyone from the intern in the Biden break room to Biden himself. Q said the first big arrest will shock you. I can't see another shocking thing that the President-elect of the United States getting arrested for treason, ballot fraud and crimes against humanity. Votergate, Democratic voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election. One can see that this is the biggest voter fraud in history, with President Trump really receiving 80.4% of the watermark true ballots. Mark Baumann, a government lawyer, recently stated that, "It does not matter that Vertical Biden won the election, for they won the election of the defunct United States corporation." Even President Trump, once proven the real winner by the current Supreme Court, would only be the president of a defunct corporation. Trump will be sworn in as the first president of the new republic. I was informed some time ago that President Trump, before his inauguration in January 2021, he will announce the new government and the new republic. Then the military takes over, in a 120-day period and in temporary capacity, that all elected positions in the government will have to run again after 120 days. Monday 9th of November, the take-home message. Anavon writes, "Oh, and about the idea of Joe B. Vertical Biden and Ms. H. Vertical Harris being president and vice president of any municipal corporation having a contract with you? No, not. You see, you are the employers. They are the employees. And whether or not they cheated themselves blind and broke their own laws and acted as common criminals, which is really nothing new for them, to steal an election, that election itself is meaningless in the face of the actual states and people, present and accounted for. We aren't bound by employee popularity contests, whether crooked or honest. We just told the other principals that we, the employers, don't accept their offer of Vertical Biden as the president of anything but a prison cell block." Sunday 8th of November, Fox News Morning with Maria. Sidney Powell on Democratic voter fraud. Powell was part of Trump's legal team. She said they were taking election vote fraud issues to federal court on Monday 9th of November, plus there were 3 major issues that would go before the Supreme Court this week. Powell gave an excellent review of evidence to be presented, which covered the same issues outlined in this article on the Trump win that was validated by a recount of votes on the quantum blockchain system Sun. 8th of November, Fox News Morning with Maria. Sidney Powell on Democratic voter fraud. Dead people voting. Arizona voters ordered to use a pen that invalidated their ballot, and then refused another ballot to vote. Pets on ballots. Mexicans coming across the border just to vote for Democrats. Double voting. Voting in 2 states. Placing cardboard up on windows so officials and the public could not view the vote counting in Philadelphia and other places in the country, and not allowing in-republic observers inside to view the vote count. These were minor compared to the 3 big whoppers, using the NSA's hammer and scorecard software to change votes at will as set up by the Obama administration, extending the vote count late or even days after the election day, and the biggest fraud of all, bringing pre-done fake ballots into vote and counting centers in the middle of the night. In federal court Monday 9 November, 3 major issues to go to Supreme Court. Greg Hunter on election fraud confirmed by attorney, Sidney Powell. The company, Dominion Software, is implicated in flipping votes from Trump to Vertical Biden and also for races down the ballot that were flipped from Republican to Democrat. It's also reported that Nancy Vertical Pelosi's longtime chief of staff is a key executive of Dominion Software, and Senator Feinstein's husband, Richard Bloom, is a shareholder of Dominion Software. Powell also reported, "We've identified 450,000 ballots that miraculously only have a vote for Joe B. Vertical Biden." Dems collude with CIA to launch intelligence operation that alters voting machine results in Pennsylvania and other swing states.